Welcome to Beyond the Dark, where we plunge headfirst into the realms of the unexplained, the mysterious, and the extraordinary. I'm your host, Jay Rockwell, and together we'll navigate the shadowy corridors of ufology, explore the world of cryptids, and venture into the cosmic unknown. From extraterrestrial encounters to the secrets of the paranormal, we leave no stone unturned. Join me as we embark on a journey that transcends the boundaries of reality. Hello. How's everyone doing tonight? This is your host, Jay Rockwell, and this is another episode of Beyond the Dark, and we're in September. Holy smokes, where'd the year go? Episode 18, we are approaching 20 episodes of Beyond the Dark. It's been a crazy past year. Thought I was done there for a little bit after Lincoln was born, but I'm glad I got back into the saddle. And we're firing off some episodes. We're picking up momentum again, and yeah, it's good times. Good times. I love doing this show. Definitely a hobby, a passion. So I'm having a lot of fun with it, and loving the feedback that I get from the community. You guys, I mean, this wouldn't be possible without you guys. So thank you so much. But hey, not to get all mushy and stuff. It is the week of September 2nd. We got some cool news bits, and then we're going to discuss the disappearance of Flight 19. Some of you may recognize that as being the hottest story that pretty much came out of the Bermuda Triangle. You know, there's a bunch of Bermuda Triangle stories, but the biggest and hottest one would be the disappearance of Flight 19. Now, we did do an episode on the Bermuda Triangle in general, and I'm sure Flight 19 was mentioned, but we're going to actually dedicate a whole episode to it. We're going to dive into it and see what in the heck happened that fateful day to those pilots out there. And should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. But hey, like how we always do, we're going to jump right into the news. And here's what we got for the week of September 2nd, 2024. Scientists have made an exciting breakthrough using AI, inspired by how our brains work, to tackle a big challenge in chemistry, figuring out how molecules behave in different states. This research, led by Imperial College London and Google DeepMind, could change how we develop new materials and technologies. By using a special type of AI called neural networks, researchers have found a way to predict how molecules will react when they get a lot of energy, like when exposed to light or heat. This could help scientists design new materials on a computer before actually testing them in the lab, saving time and resources. The study was published on August 23rd in the journal Science and shows how AI can solve some of the toughest equations in chemistry, making it easier to understand complex molecular systems. When molecules absorb a lot of energy, their electrons can jump into a temporary new state known as an excited state. Understanding these transitions is key for improving various technologies, such as solar panels, LED lights, and even biological processes like how plants use light for photosynthesis. Dr. David Pfau, A researcher from Google DeepMind and Imperial College explains that figuring out these states is extremely tricky because electrons, which are super tiny, don't have definite positions. Instead, they're best described as probabilities, making them hard to pin down. Imagine trying to map out all possible positions of electrons for a simple silicon atom. If you were to think of it like a grid, the number of possible positions would be more than the total number of atoms in the universe. That's where neural networks comes in handy. The researchers developed a new mathematical method and combined it with an AI model called Ferminet. This AI was designed to predict the energy levels of atoms and molecules accurately from basic principles. When they tested this approach on various examples, including a tricky molecule known as carbon dimer, they got results that were much closer to real-life experiments compared to older methods. In one example, the predictions were 5 times more accurate than previous methods. Dr. Foe shared that they tested some of the most challenging chemical systems and were just about zero point 0.1 eV, a tiny unit of energy, away from the best, most complex calculations done to date. The best part? The team is making their latest work open source, hoping other scientists can build on it to discover even more about how matter interacts with light. This could lead to some really cool advancements in how we create new technologies and materials. Ever wonder if we could control things in the real world while dreaming? According to some cool new research, that might not be as far-fetched as it sounds. A team from the US neurotechnology company REM Space recently pulled off something pretty amazing. They showed that with some training, people can interact with devices around them while they're in a lucid dream. Now, if you haven't heard of lucid dreaming, it's basically when you realize you're dreaming while you're still in the dream. About half of us have experienced this at least once, and the good news is you can actually train yourself to do it more often. So, here's what the researchers did. They got 5 skilled lucid dreamers, including a couple of the researchers themselves, to control a virtual avatar while dreaming. How? By shining LED lights on their closed eyes. The dreamers then used tiny muscle movements to drive a virtual car and dodge obstacles. Yeah, they were steering while they were asleep. Even though they weren't actually dreaming about driving, they could still respond to the light signals, which is a huge deal. It suggests we might one day be able to bridge the gap between our dreams and the real world. When we're in REM sleep, the deep sleep where dreaming happens, our muscles are mostly paralyzed. But during lucid dreams, small twitches are still possible. The REM space team developed special gear to detect these micro movements. Before the dreamers could start steering virtual cars in their sleep, they had to practice while awake. With their eyes closed, they leaned to control the car using arm and leg twitches. If a light flashed to indicate an obstacle, they'd move a muscle to steer left, right, or speed up. Once they got the hang of it, it was time to try it out in their dreams. By tracking their REM sleep through sensors, the researchers knew when the dreamers were ready. The dreamers signals that they were prepared by moving their eyes in a certain pattern, and then the dream race was on. All 5 dreamers managed to drive the virtual car while asleep, avoiding obstacles a total of 28 times. It wasn't always easy. One participant managed 17 turns but felt their legs go numb, while another only got to drive twice out of 5 lucid dreams. But hey, this is still groundbreaking stuff. Interestingly, the team thinks with right training, most people could learn to do this. They even had someone use muscle twitches to give voice commands to a smart home while dreaming, controlling lights, a kettle, and a radio. The researchers believe this is just the beginning. The founder of REM Space, Michael Raduga, said two-way interaction with a computer from dreams opens up a whole area of new technologies. They hope to improve their equipment to detect even more subtle movements and aim to one day connect our dreams with real world even further. Imagine making yourself a coffee in your sleep. Now that's a dream worth having. The study will soon be published in the International Journal of Dream Research. Stay tuned for more updates as we dive deeper into the possibilities of dream tech. Hey folks, tonight we're going to dive into a 400-year-old mystery that's finally been cracked, thanks to some cool science and a bit of detective work. It's all about four guys who were buried in Jamestown, Virginia, which was England's first permanent settlement in America. These guys were buried way back in 1610, but until now, no one really knew who they were. Well, guess what? We've got some answers. Thanks to DNA analysis and a lot of hard work by archaeologists, we now know that two of these men were Sir Ferdinando Wenman and Captain William West. Both were related to the colony's first governor, Thomas West. The fact that their graves were in a prominent spot and their coffins were fancy was a big hint that these guys were important. Now, if you're wondering how scientists figured this out, it's all about ancient DNA, or aDNA for short. This is the stuff they can pull from really old bones to learn about our past. Usually, it helps us understand how humans have evolved over time, but in this case, they used it to solve a mystery straight out of a history book. This is actually the first time aDNA has been used like this at the Jamestown site, according to Karen Bruweldheide, an anthropologist from the Smithsonian. The story starts with four graves lined up in the church area of Jamestown's old 1608 church. Since this area was reserved for high-ranking folks, it made sense that the bodies belonged to Wenman, West, Reverend Robert Hunt, and Captain Gabriel Archer. The way the coffins were made pointed to Wenman and West. Here's where it gets juicy. Wenman's connection to Thomas West was already known because his mom was the governor's aunt. But Captain West's family ties were a bit foggy, so researchers decided to dig deeper, literally. They checked the DNA of the remains and found that both men had a rare genetic trait passed down from mothers to their kids. It's called haplogroup H10E for anyone keeping score at home. This discovery led to a bit of family drama. Historical records showed that a woman named Mary, who raised William West, was in line for his stuff after he died. But DNA evidence suggested that Mary's sister, Elizabeth, was actually William's real mother, even though she was officially listed as unmarried and childless. Back in the 1600s, having a child outside of marriage was a big no-no, so this was likely kept on the down low. To make things even more tangled, both Mary and Elizabeth were sisters to Jane West, meaning Sir Ferdinando Wenman, Captain William West, and Governor Thomas West were all first cousins. Talk about a family of three. Beyond the soap opera, this discovery is a huge win for modern science. It shows how combining DNA analysis with archaeology and history can bring new life to old bones. It also gives us a better picture of why Captain William West might have decided to leave England and take his chances in the New World. Maybe he wanted a fresh start away from all the family drama. So there you have it. A little bit of colonial history mystery solved with a sprinkle of scandal. Who knew digging up the past could be so relieving? Or revealing? Jerry Springer, anyone? And those are your news bits for the week of September 2nd, 2024. I am your host, Jay Rockwell. This is Beyond the Dark, and we're going to go ahead and take a break. Please, I am interested in hearing your music. If you do music, if you have a friend that does music, we are looking to feature your music right here on Beyond the Dark. Email me at beyondthedarkradio@outlook.com. That is beyondthedarkradio@outlook.com. Shoutouts to mixkit.co, where we get all of our sounds and music that you hear right here on Beyond the Dark. Go ahead and check them out. They got a wide variety of music and sound effects that we love so much. But when we come back, we're going to be discussing the disappearance of Flight 19, straight from the Bermuda Triangle. So Buckle in, it's going to be quite the ride. I'll see you guys in just a moment. Welcome, everyone, to Beyond the Dark, the podcast where we delve into the mysteries that lie just beyond the edge of our understanding. I'm your host, Jay Rockwell, and tonight we're going to be discussing a topic that has baffled experts and enthusiasts alike for decades: Flight 19, one of the most famous cases tied to the infamous Bermuda Triangle. So, grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's embark on this mysterious journey together. Let me set the scene for you. It's December 5th, 1945, just a few months after the end of World War II. America is transitioning from a wartime mindset into a period of post-war peace and prosperity. Soldiers are coming home, families are being reunited, and the world is slowly beginning to heal from the wounds of a global conflict that reshaped nations and lives forever. The horrors of war are still fresh in people's minds, but there's a renewed sense of hope. The future is bright, full of endless possibilities, and a sense of optimism is in the air. Against this backdrop, at a naval air station in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a routine training mission is about to commence. This mission, like many others, is part of the ongoing effort to train the next generation of pilots in the intricacies of air combat and navigation. The planes involved in this mission are 5 Grumman TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, each a testament to the technological advancements achieved during the war. These aircraft, known as Flight 19, are piloted by experienced aviators, men who had served their country with distinction and were now passing on their knowledge to others. Each plane is filled with a crew of skilled navigators and gunners, all of whom are familiar with the challenges of flying over vast stretches of open ocean. Little did anyone know, these planes and their crew would soon become part of one of the most enduring mysteries in aviation history. Flight 19 wasn't just any mission. It was a symbol of the prowess and military strength that America had developed during the war. The Avenger bombers, robust and reliable, had played a crucial role in many naval battles, contributing to the Allied victory. The disappearance of these planes struck a chord not only because of the tragic loss of life, but also because it seemed to defy logical explanation. How could 5 planes, piloted by trained military personnel with extensive experience in navigation, simply vanish without a trace? It wasn't just a question of lost planes, it was a question of lost certainty. If these well trained, well equipped servicemen could disappear, what did that mean for the rest of us? The mystery of Flight 19 would soon become a key part of the lore surrounding the Bermuda Triangle, a region of the Atlantic Ocean notorious for unexplained phenomena and strange disappearances. This area, stretching roughly from Miami to Bermuda to Puerto Rico, has been the subject of countless reports of ships and aircraft vanishing under mysterious circumstances. Some say it's a place where natural laws don't apply, where time and space are distorted. Others believe it to be a hub of supernatural activity, perhaps even a gateway to another dimension. The enigma of Flight 19 has become one of the cornerstone tales that fuel these speculations. In the years that followed, Flight 19 would inspire countless theories, books, and even films, capturing the imagination of people around the world. It became a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that even in our age of advancement, there are still forces at play that we don't fully understand. Tonight, we're going to explore what happened, or what might have happened, to these planes. Was it a simple case of navigational error, compounded by bad weather and failing equipment? Or could there be something more mysterious at play? Could the legends of the Bermuda Triangle hold some grain of truth? Let's dive into the details and see where the story takes us. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive deeper into the heart of the mystery, Flight 19 itself. This was no ordinary flight, and its story is all about the people and the machines involved, each playing a crucial role in this enigmatic event that would soon grip the world's imagination. Flight 19 consisted of 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, some of the most reliable and powerful aircraft used by the U.S. Navy during World War II. These planes were built for durability, designed to withstand the harshest conditions at sea, and carry heavy payloads of torpedoes. Their reputation was one of ruggedness and reliability. With a wingspan of 54 feet and powered by a single, potent Wright R 2620 engine, these aircraft could reach speeds of over 270 miles per hour and altitudes up to 30,000 feet. Known for their impressive endurance, they were capable of flying for up to 1,000 miles without refueling. So, we're not talking about flimsy little planes here. These were true workhorses, built to last, serving as the backbone of the Navy's aerial torpedo squadrons throughout the war. Their design included advanced features for the time, such as folding wings for carrier storage and robust navigation systems, making them ideal for both combat and training missions. But of course, a plane is only as good as its crew, and Flight 19 was manned by some of the best. In total, there were 14 men on board, and each of them was a trained Navy pilot or navigator. These were men who had undergone rigorous military training, who were accustomed to the high pressure environments of aerial combat and navigational precision. Leading the group was Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, a seasoned pilot with a distinguished service record. Taylor had seen action in the Pacific theater during World War II, accumulating extensive flight hours and gaining a reputation for being a competent and reliable leader. He had flown numerous combat missions, honing his skills under the most demanding conditions. His experience made him well suited to guide the other planes on this routine mission, and his presence was a reassurance to those who might otherwise have been apprehensive about flying over the open ocean. The crew members of the other planes varied in experiences. Some were newer recruits, still honing their skills and learning the nuances of aerial navigation and combat. Despite their varied levels of experience, all had undergone the Navy's rigorous training program. This program was designed to ensure that even the greenest pilots were prepared to handle any situation they might encounter. The men of Flight 19 were considered capable and well trained, fully expected to complete their mission and return without incident. Their confidence, combined with Taylor's leadership, should have made this a routine flight, a simple exercise in navigation and aerial combat tactics. So, what exactly was Flight 19 set out to do on that fateful day? The mission was, on paper, a straightforward navigation exercise, one that these pilots had executed countless times before. It was part of the regular training regimen designed to sharpen the pilots' navigational skills and ensure their readiness for any potential combat scenarios. The goal was to fly a triangular route, which started and ended at the Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale. The first leg would take them east, flying over the expansive Atlantic Ocean to a location known as Hens and Chickens Shoals, a familiar site for bombing practice. Here, they would execute simulated bombing runs, using their navigational systems to hit predetermined targets. These exercises were not just about accuracy, but also about developing the discipline and coordination needed to carry out precise aerial maneuvers. From Hens and Chickens Shoals, Flight 19 would then turn northward, venturing further into the open sea to a designated checkpoint. This second leg of the journey was a critical test of the pilot's ability to navigate without visual landmarks, relying solely on their instruments and dead reckoning. Finally, the last leg of the mission would see them turning southwest, bringing them back toward the base at Fort Lauderdale. The entire route covered a distance of approximately 300 miles, a routine navigation test designed to push the pilots to use their training and instinct in real-world conditions. The mission wasn't just about flying. It was a comprehensive test of the pilot's navigational abilities. In 1945, navigation was a delicate art, relying on a combination of compass readings, timekeeping, visual landmarks, and dead reckoning. There was no GPS to fall back on, and radio communication could be unreliable, especially over the vast expanse of the ocean. The region where the mission took place included numerous small islands and atolls, along with unpredictable weather patterns, all of which posed potential navigational challenges. Squalls could blow in unexpectedly, and ocean currents could push planes off course. Yet, with Lieutenant Taylor's vast experience and the crew's rigorous training, there was every reason to believe that Flight 19 would return safely, just as many other training missions had before. But as we know now, things didn't go according to plan. What was supposed to be a routine exercise soon spiraled into confusion, a chilling descent into disorientation and despair that would ultimately end in the disappearance of all 5 planes and their crew. So what exactly went wrong? How did a simple navigation exercise turn into one of the greatest aviation mysteries of all time? Let's explore the events that unfolded during Flight 19's mission in our next segment. Now, let's get into the meat of the mystery here, the disappearance of Flight 19. This is where things take a turn from routine to the inexplicable. It's a story that plays out almost like a thriller, with each minute adding to the tension, each decision and radio transmission creating a narrative of growing uncertainty and dread. The mission began without a hitch. Flight 19 took off from the Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale around 2:10 p.m. At first, everything was going according to plan. The weather was fair and the skies were clear, perfect conditions for the training exercise. The pilots executed their practice bombing runs over Hens and Chicken Shoals, hitting their targets as planned, demonstrating the skills that had been drilled into them during countless hours of training. Following this, the formation turned to head north. Routine communications were exchanged between the planes and the base. It was just another day of training, another step in the journey of honing their expertise as naval aviators. But about an hour and a half into the mission, things began to go awry. At around 3:40 p.m., Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, the experienced flight leader, radioed in, sounding disoriented. He reported that both his compasses were malfunctioning and that he wasn't sure of their position. This was the first sign that something was seriously wrong. Taylor's voice, usually steady and authoritative, now carried an edge of uncertainty. He speculated that they might have strayed over the Florida Keys, a group of islands well south of their intended route. This confusion over their location marked the beginning of a series of critical errors that would only compound the mystery surrounding Flight 19. As the minutes passed, Taylor's uncertainty only grew. His decision-making, influenced by his belief that they were flying over the Gulf of Mexico, led him to change course, directing the planes to fly northeast, hoping that this route would bring them back to the Florida coastline. However, this decision was based on the incorrect assumption about their location and would actually take them further out to sea, deeper into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle. It's worth noting that Taylor's experience in the Pacific might have played a role in his confusion. He was more familiar with the island formations in that region than those in the Atlantic. Around this time, weather conditions began to deteriorate. Reports from other aircraft and ships in the area described heavy clouds, rain, and increasing turbulence. The visibility dropped significantly, making it even harder for the pilots to orient themselves. The once clear skies now turned into a confusing mess of gray, adding to the pilots' growing disorientation. By 4 p.m., communication between Flight 19 and the base had become more sporadic and increasingly desperate. Radio operators at the base and other nearby stations began picking up fragments of conversation between the flight's crew. Taylor's voice, which had initially been calm and controlled, now betrayed his mounting frustration and concern. He was heard stating, "We are completely lost," a statement that sent chills down the spines of those listening. He described flying over a large body of water, still believing they were over the Gulf of Mexico, when in reality, they were most likely out over the vast, unforgiving Atlantic Ocean. The final communications from Flight 19 were haunting and fragmented. At around 5:50 p.m., Taylor's last transmission included this chilling statement, "We can't be sure of our position. We can't see land. We think we may be about 225 miles northeast of base. It looks like we are entering white water. We're completely lost." The term white water could indicate turbulence, rough seas, or perhaps some form of visual phenomenon caused by the worsening weather conditions. Shortly after this transmission, another pilot's voice was heard saying, "It looks like we are," before the transmission was abruptly cut off, leaving the sentence unfinished, hanging in the air like a question mark, full of foreboding. As darkness fell and the fuel supplies of the planes dwindled, the sense of urgency increased dramatically. The base made desperate attempts to reestablish contact with Flight 19, urging Taylor and his men to switch to different radio frequencies in an attempt to reduce interference and improve communication clarity. Despite these efforts, the responses became more infrequent and faint. By 7:04 p.m., radio contact was lost completely. The final message, barely audible, was a voice from one of the planes suggesting they all prepared to ditch their aircraft as they ran out of fuel, a grim acknowledgement that they could no longer find their way back to safety. Despite exhaustive search efforts launched immediately after the loss of contact, neither Flight 19 nor any of its crew members were ever found. The Navy dispatched search and rescue planes, including a PBM Mariner flying boat, which itself mysteriously vanished during the search, adding another layer of intrigue to the already baffling situation. Over the following days, More than 300 boats and planes scoured thousands of square miles of ocean, but no wreckage, oil slicks, or bodies were ever recovered. It was as if the ocean had swallowed them whole, leaving behind only questions and speculation. What happened to Lieutenant Taylor and his men? Why did their compasses fail? Was it the worsening weather, navigational errors, or something more mysterious? The disappearance of Flight 19 remains a puzzle, a mystery that has become a cornerstone of the Bermuda Triangle legend, a region of the Atlantic that has been associated with numerous unexplained vanishings over the years. The mystery of Flight 19 adds to the allure and enigma of the Bermuda Triangle, leaving us to wonder if this area truly harbors forces beyond our understanding. In our next segment, we'll dive into the theories and explanations that have been proposed over the years, ranging from the scientific to the supernatural, as we try to make sense of one of the greatest aviation mysteries of all time. With the facts laid out, it's time to dive into the theories and speculations that have swirled around the disappearances of Flight 19 for nearly 8 decades. From natural explanations to the realm of the paranormal, this mystery has sparked a wide range of ideas, each one attempting to unravel the enigma of what happened that fateful day. So, let's explore what might have happened and why Flight 19 continues to fascinate and perplex us. First up, we can't talk about Flight 19 without mentioning the Bermuda Triangle. This region, stretching roughly from Miami to Bermuda to Puerto Rico, has long been associated with mysterious disappearances and unexplained events. Stories of ships and planes vanishing without a trace have been told for centuries, but the legend of the Bermuda Triangle truly took off in the 20th century, with Flight 19's disappearance playing a key role in solidifying its reputation. The area is often depicted as a kind of maritime twilight zone where the normal rules of navigation and physics don't seem to apply. Flight 19's loss, coupled with the subsequent disappearance of a PBM Mariner search plane, added significant fuel to the fire of the Bermuda Triangle myth. The idea that a single, clearly defined area could swallow up entire aircraft and ships without leaving behind any evidence struck a chord with the public imagination. Media reports at the time began to sensationalize the incident, portraying the Bermuda Triangle as a place where strange forces were at work, forces that might be beyond our current scientific understanding. This narrative has persisted, transforming the Bermuda Triangle into a symbol of the unknown and unexplained, a place where logic and reason seemed to falter. Flight 19 is often cited as one of the most compelling examples of the Bermuda Triangle's eerie reputation, a key piece of evidence for those who believe this region harbors hidden dangers. But what if there's a more straightforward explanation? Many researchers and aviation experts believe that Flight 19's fate can be attributed to a series of natural, albeit unfortunate, events. Events that, while tragic, fall within the realm of human error and environmental factors. Navigation errors and human factors are among the first and most plausible explanations. Lieutenant Taylor, despite his considerable experience, was known to have a slight history of getting lost during flights. Reports suggest that on previous occasions, Taylor had misjudged his position, and on December 5th, he seemed convinced that Flight 19 had somehow strayed over the Gulf of Mexico instead of the Atlantic. This kind of disorientation, especially under pressure, could lead even seasoned pilots to make fatal mistakes. The failing compasses, whether due to technical malfunction or magnetic interference, only compounded the issue. Disorientation in the air is a well-documented phenomenon, often exacerbated by fatigue, stress, or adverse weather conditions. In the fog of uncertainty, Taylor's decision to steer northeast, believing it would bring them back to land, tragically took them further out into the open ocean. Weather is another significant factor. Although the day started off with fair skies, conditions in the region can change rapidly. The area is known for its sudden and unpredictable weather shifts, with squalls capable of producing heavy rain, strong winds, and turbulent seas. These storms can disorient pilots, obscure visibility, and create treacherous flying conditions. Historical weather records from that day indicate the possibility of deteriorating conditions as Flight 19 progressed, which would have made navigation increasingly difficult and could have contributed to their disorientation. A sudden storm could have forced the pilots to ditch their planes into the ocean, where rough seas and high waves might have quickly caused the aircraft to sink, leaving no trace behind. Instrument failure and magnetic anomalies also come into play. The Bermuda Triangle area has long been rumored to have magnetic variations that can affect compass readings. These anomalies could be caused by the Earth's magnetic fields or local geomagnetic phenomena. If Flight 19's compasses were indeed malfunctioning, as Taylor reported, it would explain why the pilots became disoriented. Some researchers have noted that this region has unusual magnetic variations, although this is still a topic of debate among scientists. The idea is that these anomalies might have caused compass readings to go haywire, leading the pilots astray. However, whether these magnetic irregularities are significant enough to cause such a catastrophic failure remains a subject of ongoing investigation. Now, let's dive into the more speculative and fun theories, the ones that have elevated the story of Flight 19 from a mere historical mystery to a legend. These theories capture the imagination, adding an element of the supernatural that makes the tale of Flight 19 legendary. One popular idea is the alien abduction theory. Some believe that Flight 19 fell victim to extraterrestrial forces, proposing that UFOs may have intercepted the planes, either abducting them or causing them to vanish through advanced technology. This theory is often linked to the mysterious nature of the last radio transmissions and the complete absence of any wreckage. To believers, the lack of physical evidence suggests that the planes were taken by beings from another world or possibly hidden in some sort of cloaked state. The notion of UFOs in the Bermuda Triangle taps into broader cultural themes of alien encounters and government cover-ups, fueling speculation about what might really be out there in the vastness of the ocean and sky. Another intriguing theory involves time warps and other dimensional explanations. Some proponents suggest that the Bermuda Triangle might be home to a rift in time or space, where Flight 19 inadvertently crossed into another dimension. According to this theory, the planes could still be flying somewhere, stuck in a time loop or existing in a parallel universe, unable to return to our reality. This idea plays into the concept of the Bermuda Triangle as a place where the normal rules of physics don't apply, a gateway to other worlds. It's a theory that appeals to the more imaginative and science fiction oriented minds, raising questions about the nature of our universe and the boundaries of space and time. Lastly, Flight 19's disappearance is often linked to other strange incidents in the Bermuda Triangle, like the vanishing of the SS Marine Sulphur Queen, or the disappearances of commercial flight DC-3 in 1948. Some believe these incidents are interconnected, pointing to a larger, unexplained phenomenon in this region. Whether it's due to natural or supernatural forces, the Bermuda Triangle's reputation as a hotbed for mysterious events remains strong, with Flight 19 serving as a cornerstone of its legend. These connections foster a narrative of a cursed or haunted region, a place where human endeavors meet forces beyond our comprehension. As we reflect on the various theories surrounding Flight 19's disappearance, it's clear the truth remains elusive. Whether it was due to navigational errors, weather conditions, instrument failure, or something more mysterious, Flight 19 continues to be a symbol of the unknown. Its story invites us to ponder the limits of our knowledge and the possibilities that lie beyond, reminding us that even in an age of technological advancement, some mysteries remain unsolved. With the mysterious disappearance of Flight 19, an urgent and extensive search and rescue operation was launched. This segment delves into the immediate response efforts and the subsequent investigations that followed. As the reality of the situation began to set in, what started as a routine training mission quickly escalated into one of the most perplexing and high-profile searches in naval history. The moment Flight 19's radio transmissions became erratic and then fell silent, the Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale swung into action. Communication with the planes had been inconsistent and confusing, but when all contact was lost, the seriousness of the situation became apparent. By around 7:30 p.m., just as darkness fell over the Atlantic, the first search planes were dispatched to the last known area of Flight 19. The urgency of the situation was clear. 5 planes, carrying 14 airmen, were missing, and with each passing minute, the likelihood of finding them safely decreased. Among the initial response team was a PBM Mariner, a type of seaplane often referred to as the flying gas tank due to its large fuel capacity. The Mariner was well suited for long-range search and rescue operations over the ocean, but also had a reputation for being somewhat of a fire hazard due to its fuel storage design. This Mariner took off around 7:27 p.m., carrying 13 crew members. Its mission was to locate and assist Flight 19, operating under the assumption that the missing planes might be adrift in the vast ocean in need of immediate help. In a tragic twist of fate, the PBM Mariner also disappeared shortly after takeoff. The crew of a nearby tanker reported seeing a large fireball in the sky around the time and location the Mariner was expected to be, suggesting that the plane may have exploded midair. This sighting pointed to a catastrophic failure, possibly an onboard fire igniting the fuel, leading to an explosion. Despite these eyewitness accounts, no wreckage from the Mariner was ever found, leaving its fate as mysterious as that of Flight 19. The disappearance of the Mariner, tasked with finding the missing planes, only deepened the sense of dread and confusion surrounding the events of December 5th, 1945. Meanwhile, the search for Flight 19 ramped up rapidly. Over the next 5 days, one of the largest search and rescue operations in naval history unfolded. More than 300 aircraft, 21 ships, and numerous ground crews were mobilized, covering a search area that spanned thousands of square miles from the Florida coast deep into the Atlantic Ocean. This massive effort reflected the seriousness of the situation and the Navy's commitment to finding its missing men. Search teams scoured the waters, eyes straining to spot any signs of debris, oil slicks, or survivors. The U.S. Navy was joined by the Coast Guard and other military units, creating a coordinated effort that was unprecedented in scale. However, the search teams faced challenging weather conditions. The rough seas and the strong winds that had plagued Flight 19 were now hampering rescue efforts, making it difficult to maintain precise search patterns. Despite the extensive operation and the deployment of the best available technology, not a single trace of Flight 19 or the PBM Mariner was found. Not a piece of debris or floating equipment turned up. Nothing to indicate what had happened to the 27 men or their aircraft. It was as if the ocean had swallowed them whole, leaving no evidence behind. With the disappearance of Flight 19 and the PBM Mariner, the U.S. Navy launched a formal investigation. The goal was to find answers and provide closure to the families of the missing men, who were left in a painful limbo of uncertainty. The Navy's investigation gathered all available evidence, including radio transcripts, witness testimonies, and weather reports. Investigators examined possible causes such as equipment failure, navigational errors, and even potential enemy action, though the latter was quickly ruled out as World War II had ended months earlier and no hostile forces were reported in the area. The official report, however, was controversial. Initially, the Navy attributed the loss of Flight 19 to causes or reasons unknown. This vague conclusion left many unsatisfied, as it seemed to imply that the disappearance was a complete enigma. Such ambiguity only fed into the growing legend of the Bermuda Triangle, suggesting that there were forces at play that defied explanation. This conclusion, while technically accurate given the lack of evidence, was seen by some as an admission of defeat, a recognition that the mystery of Flight 19 might never be solved. Faced with pressure from the families of the missing men and some military officials, the report was eventually revised. The revised report cited pilot error, specifically Lieutenant Taylor's navigational mistakes, as the primary cause of the disappearance. The report suggested that Taylor's disorientation and his incorrect belief that they were over the Gulf of Mexico led to decisions that ultimately took the planes out to sea, where they likely ran out of fuel and crashed. This conclusion aligned with known facts, the faulty compass readings, the confusion in Taylor's radio transmissions, and the final cryptic messages indicating they were lost. Despite these official findings, the lack of physical evidence kept the door open for various theories and speculations. Some critics argued that the Navy's conclusion was a convenient way to close the case without fully explaining the mysterious circumstances surrounding the disappearances. Others pointed out the unusual magnetic readings reported by Flight 19 and the fact that all 5 planes vanished without a trace, suggesting that there might be factors at play beyond human error. The suggestion of magnetic anomalies, combined with the loss of the mariner, fed into theories of unusual forces in the Bermuda Triangle, keeping the mystery alive. To this day, the disappearance of Flight 19 remains an open-ended mystery, with the search and rescue efforts only deepening the intrigue surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. While the official investigation offered some answers, the lingering questions and uncertainties continues to capture the imagination of those who seek to unravel the unknown. The story of Flight 19 serves as a poignant reminder of the dangers of the sea and the sky and the limits of our understanding of the natural world. In our next segment, we will explore the legacy of Flight 19, examining how this incident has influenced our culture, our understanding of aviation safety, and our fascination with the mysteries that lie beyond the horizon. The mysterious disappearance of Flight 19 left an indelible mark not just on the annals of aviation history, but also on popular culture and the collective consciousness. Decades after their planes and their crews vanished, the story of Flight 19 continues to fascinate, intrigue, and inspire. Let's explore how this story has permeated media, contributed to the Bermuda Triangle legend, and how the crew of Flight 19 is remembered today. Flight 19's story has captivated people for decades, becoming a staple in discussions about the Bermuda Triangle and the broader world of unexplained mysteries. The intrigue surrounding the disappearance has inspired countless books, documentaries, films, and even television series. The narrative of well-trained pilots vanishing without a trace over the Atlantic Ocean, compounded by the simultaneous loss of a rescue aircraft, has all the elements of a compelling mystery that defies simple explanation. One of the most famous representations of Flight 19 in popular culture is Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind from 1977. In the film, Flight 19 is depicted as being mysteriously returned, intact and unaged by extraterrestrials. The image of the Avenger bombers in pristine condition in a remote desert, returned by an alien presence, struck a chord with audiences and helped cement the idea of alien involvement in the public's imagination. This portrayal played into the growing interest in UFOs and the paranormal during the late 20th century, making Flight 19 a symbol of unexplained phenomena and our fascination with the possibility of life beyond Earth. Beyond Hollywood, documentaries and TV shows about the Bermuda Triangle almost invariably include Flight 19 as a key story. These programs often dramatize the last, confused radio transmissions, the extensive and fruitless search efforts, and the eerie lack of physical evidence. Presented as a classic case of a mystery that defies easy explanation, Flight 19 has been used to illustrate the potential dangers of the Bermuda Triangle, contributing significantly to the region's reputation as a hotspot for strange and unexplainable occurrences. Shows like In Search of and Unsolved Mysteries have revisited the Flight 19 story, ensuring that each new generation of viewers is introduced to its enduring puzzle. Flight 19 has also been featured in numerous books, both fiction and nonfiction, exploring various theories about its disappearance. From speculative science fiction novels that imagine alternative realities and time loops, to serious investigative works that examine the known facts and propose rational explanations. The story of Flight 19 continues to inspire writers and researchers. Each new interpretation or revisitation of the story adds another layer to its evolving legacy, keeping the mystery alive in the collective mind. While Flight 19 has captured the imagination of many, it's essential to remember that this event was a real-life tragedy involving real people. 14 men who left on a routine training mission and never returned. The human aspect of this story has not been forgotten, and efforts have been made to honor the memory of those who were lost. In Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where Flight 19 originated, a memorial dedicated to Flight 19 serves as a poignant reminder of the lives that were lost. The Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale Museum hosts a Flight 19 exhibit, which includes artifacts, photographs, and detailed information about the crew members and their ill-fated mission. These exhibits help visitors connect with the human side of the story, providing a space to reflect on the courage and dedication of the men who served. By preserving their memory, the museum ensures that Flight 19 is not merely remembered as a mystery, but as a story of individuals who played a role in the broader history of World War II and the early post-war period. Every year on December 5th, ceremonies are held to commemorate the anniversary of Flight 19's disappearance. These events often bring together family members of the lost crew, historians, military personnel, and those fascinated by the story. The gatherings provide a moment for both mourning and curiosity, a time to honor the service and sacrifice of the men and to wonder at the enduring mystery that surrounds their disappearance. The ceremonies often include readings, moments of silence, and reflections on the impact of Flight 19, serving as a bridge between the past and the present. Flight 19's legacy is a blend of cultural fascination and solemn remembrance, bridging the gap between the real and the speculative, the known and the unknown. Its story continues to evoke questions, inspire creative narratives, and remind us of the enduring allure of the unexplained. As we look to the future, the story of Flight 19 serves as a reminder of the power of mystery to captivate the human imagination and of the importance of remembering those who have been lost in pursuit of exploration and duty. The mystery of Flight 19 may never be solved, but its legacy will undoubtedly continue to resonate, keeping the story alive for generations to come. As we come to the end of our journey through the story of Flight 19, let's take a moment to recap the key points we've explored and reflect on the lingering questions that continue to capture our imagination. We began by setting the stage for Flight 19's ill-fated mission, a routine training exercise that took a tragic turn. We looked at the details of the flight, the experienced crew led by Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, and the TBM Avenger torpedo bombers, which were considered reliable workhorses of the Navy. Then, we delved into the harrowing timeline of events leading to the disappearance, with Taylor's increasing disorientation, the worsening weather conditions, and the chilling final radio transmissions that painted a picture of confusion and impending doom. The extensive search and rescue efforts that followed, one of the largest in naval history, failed to find any trace of Flight 19 or the PBM Mariner that also disappeared, adding another layer to the mystery. We explored various theories, ranging from natural explanations like navigational errors, bad weather, and possible instrument failures, to more sensational ideas involving alien abductions, time warps, and other dimensions. All these theories, both plausible and fantastic, contribute to the enduring enigma of Flight 19 and its place in the legend of the Bermuda Triangle. Flight 19's disappearance remains a poignant reminder of the power and unpredictability of nature, as well as the limits of human knowledge and technology. It shows us how, even in a world increasingly mapped out and understood, there are still corners of mystery where logic seems to falter. The loss of Flight 19 also speaks to our fascination with the unknown and our desire to make sense of events that defy explanation. Perhaps it's this mix of tragedy and enigma that keeps us coming back again and again to stories like these. To this day, no definitive explanation has emerged, which is why Flight 19 continues to be a topic of debate, study, and speculation. The story encourages us to remain curious, to ask questions, and to seek out knowledge, even when answers seem elusive. I encourage all of you listening to explore further, dig into the details, and form your own opinions. There's a vast ocean of information out there, and who knows? Perhaps one day, new evidence or insights will come to light that will finally solve this puzzle. But for now, we leave the mystery of Flight 19 behind and turn our eyes to the skies once more. In our next episode, we'll be exploring another fascinating phenomenon, the Marfa Lights. These mysterious glowing orbs have been spotted near Marfa, Texas, for over a century, intriguing locals and visitors alike. Are they atmospheric reflections, paranormal occurrences, or something entirely different? Join us next time as we dig into the history of these strange lights, the theories behind their origin, and the accounts of those who have witnessed them firsthand. Until then, keep your mind open and your eyes on the skies. Who knows what mysteries are waiting to be discovered just beyond the dark. Take care, folks. Have a great night. I'm your host, Jay Rockwell, and this has been another episode of Beyond the Dark.